Now, lately I watch a lot of Queen Elizabeth. You know, people are discussing about is she's actually good one, not that good one. So is Queen Elizabeth a joke hero? Maybe, but there is a places where she can actually shine. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a little about Queen Elizabeth, basically my observation. So you're also free to put your comments in the comments below, comment section basically. So she's slow. We have to mention that it's like when you go over the ability, you're going to see it's like 16.7 seconds, which is, in my personal opinion, pretty it's not that crazy, because if you see Marie Curie is going to be 8 seconds, you're going to see Queen Elizabeth is having like 16 seconds. So Marie Curie is going to fire up like 2 times. But still, Marie Curie is a crazy hero. My personal opinion is a crazy hero. So I guess people are comparing this hero by slowness with some other heroes that are in the game, which is the right way. You have to compare the heroes and see which hero is basically, first of all, it's extremely important the speed in this game. Something I noticed, especially for the arena, something I noticed is if I fire up before the enemy, most likely I'm going to do pretty decent damage. So whatever the enemy damage they're going to do is not going to matter that much, because most likely I'm going to put some debuffs like attack down or maybe defense down. Maybe I'm going to do some big damage. Maybe I can do some stunts with Medusa, for example, and so on and so on and so on. So speed become extremely important in Heroes of History Epic Empire. So I guess this is from where people are like, you know, Elizabeth the First is not actually what I'm looking for, even though this hero is a legendary hero. And yeah, the stakes for a legendary hero is higher. Some people may actually value Otto over Queen Elizabeth first, because you know Otto is doing some crazy stuff. Here we just see in the ability that she's very slow. Now the next point I see people are making is she's barely surviving. Now it strongly depends where you're going to put this hero to begin with, because here is the thing: if you see the stats of this hero, you're going to see the attack is like 282, 284 is the defense, and the HP is 3490. Now, for example, with Marie Curie, it's basically close to the same. There is not big difference between these two ladies. Of course, the attack of Marie Curie is with extra 2. If I maybe put even Leonardo da Vinci in this whole picture, which is also a legendary hero, you're going to see also the difference here is basically none. So from point of survivability, I think it's more like where you're going to place this hero. If you put it in the front lines and it get hit, obviously it's going to be a little more hard for her. Now, if we compare with some other hero, for example, Joan of Arc, which is heavy infantry, you're going to see that the HP and the difference from the attack is way bigger, because she's a cavalry, most likely range one, which where, for example, Joan of Arc is actually a heavy infantry. Most likely this hero is a melee hero. So compared to the rest of the heroes, I cannot actually say she is barely surviving or something like this, just because, you know, it's close to the same stats like the rest of the heroes. Obviously, the melee heroes is going to have one idea: better attack, better defense, a little more HP. But this is at the sacrifice of the melee, because with the melee heroes you enter in the biggest cluster where it's basically the big fight is happening, and you can become a victim of AoE heroes doing some AoE debuffs, buffs, poison, stuns, whatever you can be, or you can get targeted by other melee hero which is prioritizing heroes, for example. So the life of the melee heroes is little more hard. So if you put Queen Elizabeth at the wrong place, obviously she's going to get killed. That's why maybe the positioning here is have to be better, and it's not because this hero is barely surviving. It's like barely surviving over the fight. Now let's check her out, her spell or her ability. I'm honestly really like the ability of this hero. It inspires all friendly units, so you don't have something like a range where these units, for example, the range of 3 and these units get expired, even though that a range of 3 is pretty decent range. For me, it's decent range. Increasing their attack speed by some percentage, their attack with some percentage of Elizabeth attack, their critical damage and critical rate is going to be at level 1 is going to be 15%. And having critical rate, I'm from this type of persons which really like critical rates. This is just the big numbers in the game, and as a gamer I really like to see big numbers. But to see big numbers, you have to do some criticals, you know. Just the number is more okay. Maybe here it's not that bigger, but you know, just playing some other games, I see the criticals, and it's, you know, this little dopamine hits when a specific hero crit, and if this hero is hitting hard and critting is, oh my god. But anyway, the spell is very nice. The thing I don't like is the regular charge, and this make this hero not very good for the arena. My personal opinion is not that good for the arena just because it's slow. She's basically slow. Compare it to, for example, with Marie Curie, which the regular charge is like 8 seconds. Throw 4 vials with unstable chemicals. Other random enemy units dealing some percentage damage in the range of 1 and leaving effect units burning and poison for further 128% damage over 8 seconds. Now this is a very strong hero. From my personal observation, I actually faced her a couple times in the arena. But anyway, back to the Elizabeth. I think the spell is very nice, but the time is just very slow. Now if I check Ramses, which is one of the heroes that I think also is boosting pretty decent things, you're going to see for the Ramses the regular charge is like 12.5 seconds. Target the biggest cluster of friendly units, so it's not basically for all the units, it's going to be for the friendly units, increasing the attack by 60%. Now here we're talking about big numbers of the Ramses attack. Their movement speed by 25%, accuracy 20%, and their critical damage by 25% and chance to critically hit by 15%. Now Ramses obviously is going to outperform Queen Elizabeth by a lot. This is one of my favorite heroes. I even have some videos when I actually put on my banner, on my thumbnail, Ramses, because I still don't have him. I hope one day I actually get him because I think he's a very decent hero, and he's basically outperforming Queen Elizabeth by a lot. But where you can actually use Queen Elizabeth, because you know this is a legendary hero. Any Heroes of History Epic Empire, it's little hard to get a legendary hero, especially with this 0.5% on the normal antimatter summonings. So my suggestion is going to be, for example, in the Treasure Hunt is going to be great. In the Campaigning is going to be great. I think in the Campaigning support model, and in general, this hero is a support. I mean, from the support heroes, you cannot actually expect something crazy. Even though I think, where was this bad boy? This one is also a supporter, but yeah, it's a support, so she's not going to do damage or something like this, but still, I think in the Campaigning, as a support model, even though that I'm using Louis the 14 there, which is giving some defense, but if I get Queen Elizabeth, I'm going to maybe think twice about Louis. Let me check it out. What was the time for Louis to actually fire up? Where is my Louis? Where is Louis? And this is, of course, Louis the 14. And the ability here you're going to see is 16 seconds, the same amount. So I get used to this thing. This spell is actually leveled up. Is still is level 16. So you can see whatever each of the spells are giving. At the level 25, I'm going to get buff shield, some extra boosts. And this is what he's giving, and this is increased the defense in the range. Affected units also get 212% of Louis base damage as a shield. So you see, this is I'm playing more defensive. On other side, Queen Elizabeth is more aggressive, you know. boosting the attack, boosting the critical damage, boosting the critical rate. You know, this is aggressive way of playing. But the thing is slow. Also, Louis is slow. So if I get her, most likely I'm going to replace my Louis, especially for the places where I need some aggression. Now Louis, I actually use him with Otto, just because Otto, you know, is getting shield when he taunt everybody, but in same time this shield go fast, very fast, especially if you're on the hard stages. So, you know, I need Louis there just to increase auto defense and give him some extra shield so the auto survive. Because if auto don't survive, most of the times, I mean, this is the taunting heroes. I think the 2-star one was actually Hassan or something like this. So, you know, if your taunting hero don't survive, first of all, you're not going to get 3 stars from the companions. And second, there is a chance you actually not survive, you know. When your defender go down, you may not actually survive. The other place that I can actually suggest is for events like Grandmaster Treasure Hunt, where you need full 6 teams, or basically where the places where you need more heroes. Now your main legions, obviously you're going to be builded, especially if you have tons of legendary heroes. You're going to, you know, use some other heroes that are more fast, hitting more strong, buffing more. But I think if you need something like a 6 teams, well, definitely I think Queen Elizabeth can actually fit in your combo. Any situation like this, you can actually count on her. She's not great, I'm not gonna lie, she's not great, but you know, it can help you here and there. Now, let me know in the comments what you think about Queen Elizabeth. Do you think she's a game changer, good, bad? Where you actually use her just to help our small community to, you know, work better with this hero? I still don't have her, I mean, I don't have many legendary heroes. But I just wanted to give my opinion. Maybe this is going to serve you as a second opinion. Maybe you can make some tests and put in the comments below what you tested. Till then, don't forget to hit one like on the video if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new here. You can become a member if you want to support my personal work, which I really appreciate that. And I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.